Good morning. It's so wonderful to be here with you all this morning. And I want to ask you this morning, when you enter the church today, you bring your passport? No passport to get through? So I have to ask Deacon Gary maybe check in order for us to get in. My brothers and sisters, everywhere we go, we have our ID, we have our passport in order to get through, especially airports, and enter into the country. And that's no deny about that. But for us, how wonderful it is for us to get in here without passport, without nothing, no ID. But you know that our identity and our baptism is our ID to get through the gate. It's first to get through the door in order to know our loving God through the Eucharist. That's the most powerful for us to get through that. And without that, we don't know Him. We cannot find Him. You know, just the same thing. I don't know how long you've been married with each other.
Pastor.
Oh, a sister. I thought you were married. Sorry. 55 years? That's a wonderful. Long time, yes. But at the beginning, you know, how do you know each other? You see, if you rewind that movie, you rewind that movie, how you get to know each other? Sometimes it's occasion, somehow as a ball anywhere. But when you know each other deeper into that enough, you want to get married to that person. And when you get married to that person, you have to be faithful to one another. No matter what, you know, sometimes it's ups and downs. You poke each other every day. You play game, you know, silent war every day, Cold War every day. You know, but you still love that person. Why you still love that person? Is that because he or she is not matching with you, or because you have to keep faithful to what you promised the congregation, the church? There must be something for us to love one another, to love your spouse. There's something for you, it's much deeper in our life to cling and to hang on to that. Yes, when we first loved, we thought everything is just like a flower, you know, butterfly flying around. But when you love each other more, you live in the same house, that you recognizing, you know, this is mine. Everything's like that. But there is something God planted in the midst of that two people. It's the love of God. It's a love that you both give into one another. Not because of mine, but because of you, I will willingly to transform. Now you recognize that. Many of you maybe recognize that by now. But not her or he, but I have to transform. I have to transform in order to walk into that path, in order to walk into that, you know, hand in hand in my 55 years or more. How many years you've been married? 35. It's not that short, or it's not long, but it's long. If you're not open enough, then you cannot walk in with each other in that path. God invites us today too. God invites us to open the narrow gate. Even though we know the narrow gate is difficulty. It's not easy. As a practicing Catholic as well. Now, ask a question. When are we starting a Mass? Is that because of beginning with the sign of faith, with the mark of faith. What do you think? When do we begin with Mass? Or when we walk into the church? We're beginning when we wake up in the morning. We prepare ourselves to get ready, like the Israelites, get ready to come to worship God, to give thanks to God, to praise God. But sometime on the road, we get lost. I want to stop by here. I maybe go early and stop by here and there to pick up something. Or I got flat tire, I get angry, upset. You know, the bigger road can ride us away here and there in our lives. More fame, more famous. But God invites us to help us in the narrow road, which is straight us out. Like the Hebrews tell us that. The Father loves us, not spoiling us, but disciplining us. Disciplining us to call us to live the way God wants us to be. Today I come to share with you the mission of redemption missionary. Now, Father St. Francis, the founder, you know, get his the degree in lawyer and the civilly degree as well, and serve in the courts. And he wins so many cases. And he's a noble man, rich family. But when he lost a case, he shut himself. You know, he has a big role in ahead of him, the future. But he shut himself down, closed the door, and was blaming on God. Saying, why are you doing this to me? But through time he prayed, and then God speak to him. He said, know the world, I know you. The St. Francis know the world, know the liar, know the trick of the world. And then he gave up everything, follow Christ. He gave up to live in the biggest city in Naples and flee to Scala, where are the most abandoned poor people, to serve God there. And for myself too, when I entered redemption, I never thought of that. Because I live in Vietnam and the communist country, we don't have the freedom of like here, freedom of speech or human rights. We'll be oppressed and even persecuted the church as well. In China, for example. But when I came here, I dreaming to be, build my big house and, get married. And I had my girlfriend, and I graduated with my computer science, and I worked for a while. I have my own business as well, computer small business. It's not big, just enough, to spend or buy a house back then, 20 years ago. But also I went back to Vietnam to visit my country. And back when I was there, I didn't have a chance to, travel here and there like, here, United States, you on vacation, travel here and there. And I went back, I visit people in Highland, the people would push away from the city and the community. And I visit people in the leprosies, and orphanage and disability, and all the young people who's pregnant, but they were afraid of family, afraid of friends, so they try to hide themselves. And then all the sisters and the priests, they try to help them, when they give birth, and their baby will be taken care of. So I visit all of that. And when I came back down into the city, and we stopped by a place just outside the street, highway, not like this highway, and very dirty, and dust and fly around. And we order food to eat, and suddenly I saw across the street there's a couple of boys that searching for food, digging out of the trash can for food. And that was struck me. Struck me because I cannot eat anymore because now it's in 20th century, not 21st century, and there's still something like that. It struck me. And even though it struck me more because kids, they don't know how to read and write. They don't have a classroom, no paper, no pens, no backpack. But it was learning on the ground with a branch. They write down words on the ground in order, like a classroom gathered together. So when I went down, I saw those kids like that. And I asked God, we should not ask him because when we ask him, he will answer us, right? He will answer right away. So I shouldn't ask him. But I asked him, I said, God, what do you want me to do? And when I come back, and make it short, when I come back, I discerning and, go to retreat and I enter Redemptress. And God said, hey, okay, you ask me, I will show you. Show everything and follow me. It took me a year in order to do that. I'm going to get married, going to get kids, and all of that. And, where am I going to put all this stuff? And so I gave it up, and I entered Redemptress. And in the Redemptress life, information, once a month they give me $25. And look at $25, say, how am I going to use this $25 for a month? When I have my business, I can spend as much as I can. I don't care. You have a credit card, you just wipe it. You wipe it. But in that $25 a month, I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot. I reflected on, how sweat I am, how busy you are in order to earn all of that. But the Redemptress helped me to look in others people's life as well. Now, if I go out with friends with that $25, it's not enough. Or even to buy a pen, jean, it's not enough. But it's helped me to learn, to understanding, the other people in the world, country, poverty. Now, we have Redemptress in 88 countries in the world. We have in Nigeria, down in Amazon, Amazonias, and we serve there. We serve people. In Nigeria, people get hungry. Even though they use the clay, the clay, the mud, very, clay, and they make it cookies out of that and eat in order to fulfill their hungriness. In Amazon, where we have to travel 30 miles down in the trials in order to be with them, to preach and to help them. Some got sick because of, the tropical and disease and type of insects that they bite them, and so they have to rush back to the United States. It's very difficult. But my life I share with you, it's not because I'm proud of it, but because I want you to know that God is wonderful. God is wonderful, but He makes something is greater. I thought I can, my life was better. But no, when I came here, I never thought I'd have my degree either, or being priest, or earning a master in theology. I never dreamed of it. Because when I lived in Vietnam, my dad served in army, and he got arrested in concentration camp for a number of years, and he came here. He sponsored us over. And back that time, I never thought of that. We've been separated for 18 years from each other. No news, nothing about him. It's nothing, it's just like up in the air. Never thought I can see him or my brothers again. But God is greater than that. Greater than that, to call me, to call you, to build God's kingdom, to build God's love. But how do we do that? How do we continue to walk into that path, to open that door in order to see the greatest of God, the love and mercy of God? How do we do that? Just pause a moment. I think if the church today is full, no empty chairs, what will be happen? Don't we joy with our brothers and sisters? The people do not know Him will be joying, will loving, thank you, and serving God. Worship Him. But we give thanks to God, my brothers and sisters, that we all been sharing with Christ. But we all enter into that narrow gate to the baptism of our faith. And our faith continue even though life is shaking. Life is challenging. But I thank you for being here today to give thanks to God for many blessings God showered upon you and me, but also worship Him. Also open your arm, your heart to help us, to journey with us, your prayer, your support. On behalf of my provincial father, Steve Ray Round, to deeply thank you for all the prayers and support you supported throughout the years, even the prayer in the diocese. May God bless you, continue to bless you, to be with you, to journey with you, especially our Mother Mary, Mother Perpetua, watch over you. And may God continue to draw us closer to Him, so that when we receive Him, we can be an instrument to God. God can touch us, touch our hearts, touch our painful occasion, moments. Heal us, and we can be a healing hand for one another. We can be a witness and instrument to one another, to bring love of God into the midst of our family, the midst of the community, and the worldwide. So people can see the love of God is still dwelling and spreading throughout the world.